As LPBW fans know, the relationship between Amy Roloff and Caryn Chandler has always been complicated. Not explosive, not openly hostile, but layered, full of subtle tension, awkward silences, clipped comments, and emotional history that never fully settled. Fans often describe it as a Cold War, not loud but always there. And when you add Matt Roloff into the center of that triangle, suddenly every expression, every comment, every decision around Roloff Farms felt like it carried extra weight. Over the years, viewers have analyzed the dynamic like detectives. Some believe Caryn played too big a role in farm conversations while Amy was still emotionally tied to the land she built her life on. Others feel Amy was carrying years of resentment about her divorce, about the shift in family traditions, about the farm's changing future. But the moment that truly ignited fan theories was when Amy made a choice that stunned the community. She sold her portion of Roloff Farms. She walked away from decades of memories. And in the process, she reportedly earned a massive payout, around $400,000. To some viewers, it wasn't just a business deal. It was a message. A moment where Amy took back control. A moment where she stopped fighting the emotional battles and chose a clean break on her terms. Whether you see it as revenge, closure, or the smartest financial move she ever made, this moment became one of the biggest turning points in Roloff history. And tonight we're breaking down what fans believe pushed Amy to that point, how the tension with Caryn influenced the emotional environment, why the $400,000 deal became a symbol of her silent victory, and how this decision reshaped the Roloff family forever. Because for Amy, this wasn't just about selling land. It was about reclaiming peace, power, and possibility. Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. For Roloff family latest news update, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. As the seasons progressed, viewers began connecting dots, small moments, subtle reactions, and quiet tensions that didn't make headlines but spoke volumes to longtime fans. Amy, who spent decades pouring her heart into Roloff Farms, suddenly seemed like a guest on the land she once called home. And while the show never framed it as a direct conflict, the emotional undertones were hard to miss. Fans point to certain scenes where Amy would glance away, cross her arms, or offer short, clipped comments whenever Caryn was involved in big decisions. It wasn't explosive, but it was telling. That kind of silent discomfort, the kind you feel more than you hear. This is where many believe the so-called betrayal began, not with a single moment, but with a buildup of changes that Amy didn't initiate. Some viewers highlight how quickly Caryn transitioned from an employee to Matt's partner and then to an influential voice in farm planning. Suddenly, decisions about the future of the property, the place Amy raised her kids, built her traditions, and invested her life, were happening without her. Fans have described it as an emotional displacement. A sense that Amy wasn't just moving on from the farm was moving on from her. And the symbolic moments hit even harder. Seeing Caryn walking the same paths Amy once did. Hearing her input on long-term farm plans. Watching her step into family conversations that Amy used to lead. To viewers, these moments felt like quiet turning points, like Amy was witnessing the reshaping of her own legacy from the sidelines. And whether or not Caryn ever intended it, the emotional ripple effect was real. This fan theory betrayal became the spark, the moment where Amy's discomfort, the shifting dynamic, and the growing gap between past and present began to merge into a story that fans still debate today. It was the beginning of the fracture, and the first piece of the puzzle that would eventually lead to Amy's boldest move yet. As fans revisit that emotional chapter of Little People, Big World, Amy's decision to sell her share of Roloff Farms continues to stand out as one of the most defining moves in the family's history. Viewers watch the internal conflict unfold, the hesitation, the sadness, the memories tied to every inch of that property. For Amy, the farm wasn't just land. It was her marriage, her motherhood, her identity for over 3 decades. But this is exactly where fan theories shift from sympathy to admiration. Many viewers believe Amy didn't just walk away, she strategized. Instead of clinging to a situation that no longer served her emotionally or financially, she turned what could have been a defeat into a moment of personal power. Fans point to the widely circulated estimate of around $400,000 for her buyout, an amount that, whether exact or not, became symbolic of her turning pain into opportunity. And that symbolism, it stuck. To these fans, the payout represented far more than a check. It was a boundary, a reset, a bold declaration that she would no longer be entangled in the tensions, especially with Caryn taking a more active presence around the farm. By choosing to leave on her terms, Amy effectively removed herself from the emotional storm that had been brewing for years. She didn't just cash out. She cashed in on her peace. And the moment she stepped away, closing one chapter and starting another, viewers began calling it her ultimate power move. Not in a petty or spiteful way, but as a moment where Amy reclaimed control of her life narrative after years of feeling overshadowed, sidelined, or misunderstood. Regardless of the exact figure, the message was clear. Amy didn't just move forward. She leveled up, and fans never forgot it. After walking away from Roloff Farms, a place filled with decades of memories, conflict, and emotional weight, Amy's life began shifting in a way fans didn't expect. What many assumed would be a loss slowly revealed itself to be a breakthrough. When the dust settled, viewers started noticing something different about Amy. She wasn't carrying the heaviness that once defined her time on the farm. Instead, she seemed lighter, more grounded, more herself than ever before. Over the seasons, fans watched her build a new home, one that reflected her style, her energy, and her sense of independence. Launch her own brand and business ventures, from Amy Roloff's little kitchen to her ongoing social media presence. Find real happiness with Chris Merck, a relationship built on calm, mutual respect, and genuine companionship. Step into a freer, more confident version of herself, no longer overshadowed by old tensions or old expectations. And while Amy's life flourished, fans couldn't help comparing it to the ongoing dynamic between Caryn and the Roloff children, a relationship that, fairly or unfairly, has faced ups and downs in the public eye. Some viewers believe that as Amy rose into her new chapter, Caryn seemed to face more complicated emotional terrain. In fan circles, this not the sale, not the negotiations, not the $400,000 is where Amy, revenge arc truly peaks. Not through fights, not through takedowns, not through dramatic confrontations, but through transformation. Amy did something far more powerful than getting even. She built a new life, one that many fans say is her greatest victory of all. Amy didn't get even. She got better. As we've seen throughout this deep dive, none of these fan theories are confirmed facts, but they do paint a compelling picture of what many viewers believe unfolded behind the scenes. A woman who endured emotional strain, a woman who made one of the hardest choices of her life, and a woman who turned that painful turning point into a fresh start, one that symbolized independence, clarity, and yes, a financial win that positioned her for the next chapter. Some fans call it revenge, others call it resilience, but perhaps it's both. Because no matter how you interpret it, one truth stands above all the speculation: Amy Roloff walked away stronger than she ever was before. And with that, we wrap up this episode. Thank you so much for watching, for supporting the channel, and for diving into another LPBW saga with us. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and take care.